Welcome to episode 156.
The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at with your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to November, everybody. Woo, 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 woo. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Bryce Wolaniak, Shane Chapman here to service you today.
Not that kind of service.
Through your speakers. Eargasms. Have you ever heard of eargasms?
Your ear holes?
Yeah. How do you feel about eargasms?
Well, I mean, that sounds like, what is that thing that you like to listen to? Like you like to watch those videos?
ASMR.
Like that.
Yeah, the ASMR stuff.
Are those eargasms?
They could be, yep. But how do you feel about Q-tips?
I like Q-tips.
I love Q-tips.
They go in your ears.
Oh, they're so good. They feel so good. But I hate I've had enough of these medical experts and their vaccine. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going there.
Whoa.
I'm not going there. I have had enough of these medical people saying you shouldn't stick Q-tips in your ears. Pound sand. That's one of the best feelings of life.
Right, until you go too far.
Yeah, but just don't then.
Just don't.
Like, who's doing this?
Children.
Who's lining it up, getting in there and then giving a little tap on the end and like...
It's no different than them having to put a diagram on a plastic bag saying don't put this in a crib.
Right, but I always see these. I don't know how much time I'm spending on ear swabs, but I've seen it enough times where they have diagrams like it doesn't actually work anyway. It just pushes the wax back up and how much shit do you have in there that you're?
No, yeah.
Do it frequently enough and I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I can put a Q-tip end in my ear and it could hover, my ear hole is big enough for the Q-tip. I'm not jamming anything in there.
Right. Do you do it after you shower?
I have to go around the outside. 2 Q-tip heads go around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. I was
just listening to Eminem today.
Right? So I don't see the issue. I think...
Do you go in dry though? Or wet?
What?
Yeah.
With the Q-tip?
Yeah.
Dry, man. What are you talking about?
So when you come out of... Do you do it when you come out of the shower? I mean, you're servicing ear holes.
Yeah.
Or do you just...
No, of course I go...
Or do you just,
Are you asking if I wet the Q-tip first?
Well, no, I wasn't. But then I thought that was pretty funny.
No, I don't wet the Q-tip. Are you asking... If I do it after a shower, when my ears might already have water in them, maybe?
Yeah, or when your ears are dry.
I'll do both.
Oh, okay, that's weird. When you do them dry, it's weird.
Which parts? No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Why is it weird?
Because then you're pushing shit in your ear.
No, you're not. No, you're not. What are you pushing in your ear? At worst, water.
A Q-tip.
Yeah.
No, when they're dry, when your ears are dry, you're pushing the
No.
The wax comes out so much better.
Come on.
When you just got out of the shower.
No, what's a good analogy? I don't know that I have one.
You don't.
But imagine, okay, here we go. Imagine this, Bryce. Imagine this scenario.
All the people.
Imagine you have a tube.
A tube?
It's 2 feet deep, but it's 8 inches around.
Okay.
And there's some shit stuck to the side of the tube and you got to get it off.
Right.
And so you just reach your arm in there, right? And the tube's 8 inches around. So you're not touching the sides of the tube when you go in.
Okay.
Then you grab the shit and you don't scoop it out.
With the Q-tip.
Well, then you do this then. With your hand, you go, and you only get to see this motion if you're on the Instagram. Then you just you wipe around the sides, you pull back out. At no point is the thing that's going in bigger than the hole, so it's not pushing anything back in there.
Okay.
That's my argument.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just have ears that don't have...
You just got really...
I got really big ear holes.
Big ear holes.
Is this do you have problems with getting your Q-tip?
No.
Are you packing when you go in there?
I'm not packing.
Yeah, see, I don't think the packing issue is real.
No, I don't think it's real either.
So, conspiracy.
Yeah?
Keep using Q-tips. They're fantastic.
We're gonna be playing these all day, and they're not even gonna know what we're.
Yeah, I know. They're gonna have to listen afterwards, which is good. You get a double listenership out of them. People.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if this is useless.
Is this useful information?
Could be.
Okay.
So
I feel like we've already given people lots of useful information today.
About Q-tips.
Yeah, don't feel bad about using them with Q-tips. That's my tip for the day.
So I went out on the internet, the wide web, and I found 15 of the most innovative inventions when it comes to saving the environment.
Oh, this sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 1, organic burial pods.
For burying what?
You. For burying you.
Okay.
Each year, 4 million acres of hardwood are forested to cut down and construct wooden caskets.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
So what are these made out of?
They're made out of, I don't know what they're made out of.
Oh, and they
like
put a tree in them?
pods. Yeah, they're like pods that will
Oh, that's amazing.
allow you to become fertilizer, and then a tree grows on top of
Oh, how can you be mad about this? This is great. Why hasn't this
Right?
taken off yet? They should sell those at Home Depot.
you. I don't know.
But for real though, the expense of buying an actual casket that's like for
I wonder how
what?
much these cost.
For what?
I don't know.
And I've never been concerned about the trees and the casket part. I'm just like, why does that cost $15,000?
I feel like I'd rather be cremated.
yeah, or turn into a beautiful cherry blossom tree.
Beautiful cherry blossom.
I'm like, for real though. I've only been to a few funerals, but like you don't get to enjoy the casket very much.
Yeah, why are they so nice?
You're gonna put that sucker in the ground.
So,
I don't know.
are you like, when you're dead, or are you like, when you're dead, you're not dead?
Oh no, I'm fully coming back, but I'm just not carrying what I went into the ground in.
Okay, that's fair.
I will be back out
You'll be back.
and I will haunt shit. So our bookkeeper, if we're gonna go down this path, our bookkeeper used to hunt. What do you call this?
Would you call it
Paranormal,
hunting?
a paranormal
Detective?
detective,
Investigator?
investigator.
That's
there we
better.
go. Yeah, a PI.
Yeah.
So her and her husband used to do this. They used to get
Regina.
hired in Regina to go and like explore or investigate paranormal activity.
What's
She brought some of her recordings to work the other day.
what's the payoff for getting a paranormal investigator? You're just like, oh, thank God it's a ghost and not my pipes exploding.
What? What?
Like, why do you hire that person?
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that what they were doing.
Because you're only hiring them
Bad.
if you already think weird shit's going on. You're like,
Exactly.
weird shit's going on, and they come in, they're like, "Yep, weird shit's going on."
Weird shit's going on.
Okay,
Exactly.
sounds good. And then if they say like, "Nope, didn't see any weird shit," it's not like you're like, "Oh, must have been in my head then." Like you're still like, "Oh no, I experienced weird shit."
Right.
I see what you're saying. It changes nothing.
It changes nothing.
Yeah.
I guess you might have to get your furnace fixed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fix your furnace when it's working fine. That's my latest experience.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2, plastic free edible flight meal trays.
Plastic-free, edible.
So you
flight
can
meals. What?
You can eat your entire meal
And you won't know the
meal
difference
tray.
between the meal and the tray in most cases.
Because it all tastes like
It
styrofoam.
all tastes like cardboard. Yep.
So there you go.
So what's it made out of? Why? And is it tasty?
Banana leaves and wheat bran.
And so does it have like a muffiny flavor or what?
Maybe like a chippy flavor. I've never had one.
That's cool. So who's doing this? Is any any airlines doing this?
Priestman good? I don't know. No, it doesn't.
But
look like it
why?
yet.
Okay, hold on though. Why just airline?
Passenger flights accumulate almost 5.7 million tons of garbage per year.
Yeah, but like apply that to the fast food industry or something. Like there's a bigger use case for this than just airplanes.
I don't know. You're saving the world, Shane.
One meal at a time.
One meal at a time.
I'm gonna eat this planet into greenness.
Number 3, plastic eating caterpillars.
Oh, what?
Yep. Cambridge.
Hold on. No, don't actually hold on though.
Okay.
I'm eager to hear more.
Okay. Cambridge University researchers discovered that moth larvae can chew through plastic.
For real? Like
Yeah.
all types?
Yeah. Any type of plastic waste.
And they actually like consume, digest it, and then excrete what? Something biodegradable?
Doesn't say. But they can eat it.
They just reshape the plastic.
They just turn it into their wings, man.
It turns into like plastic pellets instead.
Yeah.
Well, so so what? They made these things? Did they biohack these caterpillars, or it's just a natural
No,
caterpillar?
it's just a natural thing.
So what are they thinking? That you could take like a landfill full of plastic and put a bunch of caterpillars in it and problem solve?
Or like the ocean, because there's all that like
I don't
floating
caterpillars will live
garbage.
in the ocean. That would be a failed experiment.
Okay.
Though we dumped 65 million caterpillars in the ocean, turns out they don't breathe under there.
Turns out they're all fish food.
Yeah.
Biodegradable coolers is number 4. Because apparently styrofoam coolers are a big thing in the States.
Yeah, I can see that those aren't good for the environment, but also, like, how often are you replacing your cooler?
No, like, you know those, like, white plastic one use, or not plastic, styrofoam one use?
Okay, yeah, those are bad.
That's what they're talking about.
Okay, sure.
Not great. Number
Can you
5.
eat it?
No, you can't. Partially biodegradable vegan leather.
What?
Yeah, let's skip that one. It didn't sound that good.
Banana leaves again, sounds like maybe.
Solar powered, glow in the dark bicycle path.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
If it wasn't under snow 4 months of the year here.
Yeah, so
Well, that's cool though.
saves, like, you don't need any additional power supply
That's
running
really
along
cool.
your bike
So
path.
can we make the whole road like that, not just the bike path?
There is that later on.
And does it emit heat?
No.
There's no heat.
No heat.
Doesn't, like, with light come heat? Like, in some capacity? You know where I'm going with
I
this.
understand where
Could
you're
it
going.
keep the roads clear
Probably.
from snow and ice?
Probably. I heard that
That'd be incredible.
I heard that the Tesla shingles,
Yes?
they basically clear the snow off the roof themselves because of the heat.
Because they generate heat as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
Sneakers and sportswear made from plastic ocean waste.
Hold on. Can we go back a little bit? Is it the Tesla shingles thing? Is that thing like, is that?
It happened.
Yeah, but like, is it like it's happening? Like, it's like people are buying these things and they're available now. And like, if I wanted to, I could get those.
Yeah. You have to design your roof a little differently, I think, up here.
Okay.
You have to, like, increase the pitch.
Increase the pitch?
Yeah, so, like, it's a much steeper roof.
Angle to the sun.
Yeah, and so the
How do you do
snow
that?
comes off.
It seems like a bit of a process. Okay. But it's
I don't know.
a freaking amazing idea.
Yeah.
As is just what anything that Elon Musk does and thinks of.
Did you see his latest tweet?
Nope.
I'll solve world hunger. I'll donate $6 billion if someone can prove to me how that will solve world hunger.
Yeah, because somebody called him out. Some, like, Time magazine, I can't remember who it was. Somebody was like, if Elon Musk just donated 2% of his wealth, he would be able to solve world hunger.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no, I don't think $6 billion will do it.
Yeah.
But if it does, if you can prove how it will,
I'll do it.
No problem.
I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Right?
But
So
I think we all know it's not the answer. And you know what? If $6 billion would do it, it's not his freaking responsibility. What about the government who spends trillions of dollars on useless things?
yes.
If all it's going to take is $2 million or $6 billion, get after
I'm
it.
pretty sure everybody in the world could pitch in.
Like,
for
let's
that.
go.
Right.
Trudeau has spent that much in fuel for his plane this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so.
Okay, let's get on to a few more here. Number 13, plastic-made roads that last 10 times as long as asphalt.
Oh, well, that's good. If we're going to put plastic somewhere,
Put it on the roads.
I guess. Not by means of throwing your shit out your window, but
Yeah.
So
It's 60% stronger.
how's
more
the
durable,
traction on it?
eco-friendly. They don't say, but
So is this happening right now? Somebody's
Yeah.
actually making these
a
roads? Where?
UK-based company
Okay.
called McReber.
So they get lots of rain. They would have to have some sort of traction.
That's right. Yeah.
McReber.
McReber. Fully transparent solar cells are also on this list.
Oh, why?
Why?
For your windows or
Yes,
what?
for your windows. You can
Are
use
your
it.
windows
It's
at the right angle?
Transparent material. Well, the more shit you get that captures the sun's energy,
Sure.
the better.
Yeah. All your car windows,
Yeah.
potentially. That'd be good. So here's what I don't understand. If you can have a solar, like a car,
Yeah.
an EV car,
Yeah.
why can't you just make the roof solar panels and like get some charge out of that thing? I know there's companies they're hinting that the Cybertruck might have such a thing, and there's like other ones that are hinting at that. But why is it just being hinted at now? It seems like something that's so logical that you could just do.
Right. I don't know.
What, like,
I think you should be able to do it.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Make
Right?
the damn hood of the car
I mean,
solar panel too.
I think-
Clear solar panel.
I think Toyotas have like an energy gathering system from the heat gathered from the brakes.
Yeah, okay. Here
It's like you
we
can
go.
do that.
Right?
You can't put some solar panels on top of your car.
I guess so. And put a heat capture system in the seat too. So when you're farting,
Methane capture.
methane capture in your Tesla. That'd be really good. Okay, are we done? Hey, how was your Halloween, by the way?
It was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Did you dress
I
up?
went trick or treating. No, I didn't.
But your daughter did.
Yeah.
And she dressed up as?
The Grim Reaper.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, good for her.
And next year she's going to be Voldemort
oh, wow.
from
she's-
Harry Potter. It's going to be awesome.
Wow. She's got a dark side.
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah, she does. She's very bubbly and then at the same time into weird horror stuff.
Did she have lots of success? Did she
We
fill
got-
up a
we
pillowcase
got
full? or-
2 pillowcase fulls. Because we went
Wow.
hard.
Yeah, you went for a little bit, hey?
Yeah.
I told you about my story trick-or-treating, right? I
You
told
did.
you my
But
kids. So
Mean lady.
yeah, I did not dress up, but my wife and I, and actually her sister, took our kids out, 3 of them, age
Yeah.
14, 4, and 2. They were all dressed up. My 14-year-old was a zombie with skin melting off his face.
Nice.
Sweet. My 4-year-old was what did he go as? He went as a ninja, and my 2-year-old was supposed to go as like a construction worker wearing a little like backhoe, but he would not wear it. So we
Did he wear the
so we
hat?
went as a dragon instead.
Oh.
We gave him a dragon jacket and a dragon toque. So we were having a great old time, but we went out a little bit earlier because young kids. But like we were at this lady's house at 5:15. So
And
it's not like it
it's
was
Sunday.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was Sunday. It wasn't like it was 1 o'clock or anything. It was
Yeah.
5:15. There was other kids out trick or treating. She had decorations all over her lawn leading up to the door, and like
So she wanted people to come.
she was celebrating the holiday.
Yep.
We had already gone to, I don't know, 30 houses by this point, had no issues. We get to her house, when the kids knock on the door, we kind of stood back as the parents a little bit, and she basically like, I don't know if like guilted or scolded our kids for knocking on her door because didn't they know that the light wasn't on?
Jeez.
And they should know that they have interrupted her supper.
God. What the hell?
What is wrong with you? And then proceeded to grab candy and give them the candy anyway. So
she's got to be a confusing person to deal with.
either
Yeah.
shut up and give the candy out because you're celebrating the holiday and it's 5:15 on Halloween day,
Yep.
or don't answer your door.
Yeah.
Or put a sign up.
Yeah.
As if a 4-year-old and a 14-year-old are supposed to know, as if I'm supposed to know this is some
Nobody's
universal
gonna
symbol.
know.
Like, I don't even know what light she was talking about. Why would you even have the light on?
Because she's got all the
It's
friggin'
still
decorations.
bright out.
Yeah.
Why would your porch light be on at 5 o'clock? Which light are you referring to? Your kitchen? You want me to
kitchen
come
light.
up there and peer through your window to see if your light's like, shake it off, lady. Like,
Are you eating supper?
holy. I was choked.
I hope she listens to this podcast.
I hope she does too, because she should know that she's like, she defines Karen in that moment right there.
Yeah.
Like, what a heck. Like,
For sure.
put a sign up then, or don't get the decorations off your lawn, or
You okay, Shane?
there are so many ways she could have handled this, and she chose the bitchiest one.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
to little kids. Like, grow up. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Now,
Remember last week when we were talking about whatever it was that we were talking about?
We're not talking about that this week, though.
It's a different one this week. Welcome to the podcast, Wade. One of the benefits of using composite decking or composite decking
Is
its environmentally friendly messaging, or sustainability, if you believe
Environmentally
it.
friendly
If you believe the messaging, then it becomes sustainability. But it has a green message to it because there's a lot of recycled content within composite decking.
I mean, it is green. Not literally,
Not
but
the color, not the color green.
do you think it's environmentally friendly? Just off the cuff?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think it is. I don't know what kind of emissions they're putting out. Do you?
Now you're going to find out.
So a lot of these companies, the big ones anyway, use this green message in their marketing, and they tell you how green they are as a way to sell the product to you and a way as a competitive advantage per se. And so everybody's got these messages. So I thought, let's have a look at these guys and see, like, are they as green as they say? Like, what's all the data that we can find on how green each of these brands are? So you went through and you analyzed a few brands here.
Yes.
And we're going to go through Trex because they're the big dog. Timbertech because they're the big dog.
They're big dog.
Fiberon because they're big dog.
Medium-sized cat.
Deckorators because they're big dog. And so you found some big dogs. Now, it was easy to find information on Trex, Timbertech, Fiberon. Not as easy for Deckorators.
Yeah.
And Wolf, you took a peek at as well.
I didn't, but
you didn't look at Wolf.
I didn't look at Wolf.
No
at
messaging
all.
there for them.
There's nothing.
So we're going to talk a little bit about
I'm sure they're green.
the big four then.
Yeah, we'll talk about the big four.
You can go
So I
through
got
your methodology and your findings.
Okay, so I basically categorized everybody based on the percentage of recycled materials in each board,
Okay.
the net waste created during the manufacturing process, the amount of net water used. I know this is riveting stuff. And does the company have any environmental fines? Because that seems important.
Interesting.
Planning is everything. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So that was your 5 criteria.
no, there was only 4.
Oh, 4 criteria.
The 5th criteria was the commitment of the company to eco-friendliness. So, like, do they have an environmental policy, which everybody should?
Okay.
Do they have the stats to back it up, and do they talk about it?
Okay. So how do you want to go through this? Like, you want to go through all the companies number one thing
we could do
first,
that.
or do you
That
want to do
sounds
it by
good.
company?
Let's do that. Let's go by.
I just feel for comparison's sake that might be easier.
Yeah, that's way better than what I was going to do.
Oh, that's sweet.
Okay, Trex. Composite boards only, because that's all they do.
So let's preface that.
I do have PVC in here, so
A little bit of PVC too. So when this analysis is primarily around wood, plastic, composite brands, right? Because there is different types of maintenance-free decking out there that people would like call composite, even though it's not. There's PVC deck boards that have traditionally not been as environmentally friendly due to the fact that they traditionally used virgin plastic. They didn't use any recycled material, so on and so forth. I always thought you could make a message around that, though, that like it lasts forever. So it still is kind of environmentally friendly, even though it's using virgin plastic. Those deck boards are going to last, what, like 70 years?
Yes, PVC.
As opposed to wood, you would replace 8 times in that time and cut down a ton of trees. So there's still a message there you could use. But we're talking about the wood, plastic, composite brands.
Yes. And PVC also has the benefit of being, since it's made from virgin plastic, you can recycle it again.
After it's been expended its life.
After you pull it off your deck.
Right. So it's not all bad news. But I have the odd time had a customer say that they didn't, very few, but the ones that have been doing the research on environmentally friendly, I've had a couple over the years say, I don't want to use PVC because it's not as environmentally friendly.
That's fair.
So there you go.
So
Numero uno.
Trex, 95% recycled materials in their boards. They are the first company in the world of wood alternative decking to make 95%.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
95% of it being recycled. That's a good news story.
It's all reclaimed wood and recycled plastic.
Okay.
So they don't chop down trees. They curate their materials from landfills.
So
which
they're
is
using
different from other companies. So
they're using like the unused portions of trees that have been already kind of like milled and used. They're using the waste from that essentially, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's good.
And they use plastic bags. So, and like milk jugs and stuff like that. But 1.5 billion plastic bags each year.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's fantastic that they can use up the scrap wood components. However, that stuff's biodegradable. It's not harming anything after it's been used, but it's cool that they can still take it and use something use it for something. But the plastic part
That's the big
is
part.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because that crap doesn't biodegrade.
Exactly.
That's
just stays there.
Plastics are a problem. Any product that you can like take garbage plastic and reuse it in some capacity is pretty cool.
The only thing that isn't recycled is the capping. The capping has to be
I was going to say
brand
that's
new.
the core of the board. So if people aren't familiar, the way most composite deck boards are made, I've gone full American on my pronunciation of that in this episode.
The board.
The way most composite decking is made these days is with a cap layer. So they've got a core that's recycled plastic and wood fiber that's mixed together and extruded out, but then there's a layer of pure plastic over top that protects the core from the sun and the UV and the water and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That cap layer, virgin plastic, you're saying?
Virgin plastic.
Not recycled there.
Nope.
But that's the 5%.
That's the 5%.
Is the cap layer.
That's just the cap.
Perfect.
Okay, on to Fiberon. 94% of their composite deck boards are made of recycled materials.
Ooh, slackers.
Yeah, I know. They couldn't quite get there, apparently.
Nice, big, thick 6% cap, though.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. They also
So I wonder,
have a PVC line.
I wonder if that right there comes from the fact that their boards are mostly 15/16ths of an inch. I wonder if it's just like there's less core. Would that make sense? Less core, so the ratio with that cap layer ends up being 1% difference because the board's a 16th thinner.
More cap? Like the cap
No, you might have the same amount of
change.
cap, but just because the board's thinner, you use less core. Therefore, there's less core to make up the recycled portion of the board.
Fair enough. Yep.
Oh man, they should make these things like 2 inches thick so that they could say 99%.
You're really gonna work that marketing angle on that one.
Yeah.
Their PVC decking is probably 100% virgin plastic because they didn't talk about it at all.
Right. They've got their Promenade and their Paramount lines of straight PVC decking. They make both.
Yeah.
And no mention of that in their environmental stuff.
They don't talk about it.
Then there's nothing to talk about.
There you go.
They've decided. So obviously there's nothing there. All virgin plastic.
But Timbertech, on the other hand,
Oh, yeah.
their wood plastic composite boards are 80%, at least 80% recycled content. So they're a little lower.
Interesting. I wonder why that is.
I'm not sure. But their PVCs are approximately 50% recycled materials now.
So that's pretty good. I know at one time that was not the case. I believe that changed about a couple years ago. I remember there was a conspiracy out there about why the core of the boards of the Azek boards changed color and became more gray. And the answer was because they started using recycled plastic. And so the core of the board color changed.
Yeah.
I was at the plant. I've been to Timbertech and Fiberon, not Trex. Timbertech, I specifically remember them saying at that time, which was probably 4-ish years ago, that their Azek lines were 100% virgin plastic as well, and they could not use recycled plastic due to the impurities or something, and the foaming agent and that reaction being too sensitive that if there's, like, they needed it to be pure virgin plastic for that reason. And so obviously they've, science.
Yeah. So
Science has allowed them to do that. That's good.
And they seem to be the most dedicated to researching in that area.
So I'm interested though why 80%. I wonder as somebody who's not a deck nerd per se, like you're not.
Yeah.
And maybe you're becoming one. I don't know. But
I know a lot more now.
Yeah. But as somebody from a homeowner angle, when you read that, did you think like, oh, it's not as good when you read those numbers? Was that your gut? Was that how you felt?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not 95%.
To just preface this whole thing, this is Bryce perusing their websites, right?
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything.
And so if there's numbers that are incorrect or no longer right, don't blast us. This is what's on your website. Fix your website. Because I'm like, is it still really? Is it only 80? It seems like to me like that number is like an old number or something. Because why would it only be 80%?
It might be an old number. I got most of the stats from the 2020 ESG report.
Now, part of this, and it won't make up the whole thing, but they cap their boards all sides, or most of their lines they do.
Oh,
so if we're saying that that on a Trex board, 5% of the product is cap, then by default, then kind of wouldn't 10% of the thing be capping on a Timbertech board potentially? That may account for some of the lesser number, but not all of it.
Well, I mean, a lot of the surface area, if it's capped on all sides, right? Like, the largest surface area would be at the bottom and the top.
Yes.
And you're leaving half of the board either uncapped in Trex's case to get 95%, right?
Yeah. I'm sure they'll all have their reasons, and they'll tell you why they have to do it that way and why it's better than the other guys. But
let's move on to decorators.
you pulled these numbers from their marketing materials, essentially. So
Essentially.
it's about as good a story as it can get.
Yeah.
Decorators.
Decorators. Didn't talk about it anywhere. Nothing. Wood plastics or mineral-based plastics.
Yeah, Decorators has the two different lines, right? So Fiberon makes both a wood plastic composite and a PVC.
Yep.
Timbertech also makes a wood plastic composite and a PVC. Trex only does wood plastic composite. Decorators does wood plastic composite and mineral-based composite. So kind of different again.
Right.
They're I was going to say they're bread and butter, but no, their flagship lines are the mineral-based stuff, which has a different story altogether because it doesn't use wood filler. It uses like mineral
Uses
filler.
like a calcium
Yeah.
something.
But interesting that they don't talk about any environmentally friendly messaging, or if there's any, maybe there must not be any recycled material in it, maybe.
Right.
And if there is,
very possible.
They're not talking about it.
So
Not where you looked anyway.
in the percentage of recycled materials, Trex wins that category.
They hair it out by 1%.
And Decorators loses
Yeah.
because they didn't talk about it at all. And that's all you needed to do.
All you need to do to be in that
To be
category
in this
is
category
talk
was
about your
talk about
recycled
it.
content. So, yeah. And again, this is not an exhaustive
No,
3-month investigative
didn't
study.
really
This is
investigate.
what's available to the average homeowner to go look up.
this is what people are going to see.
Right. So these rankings are how you're being perceived, not necessarily
Yeah.
how well you're actually doing. But the perception of this is that Trex is the most environmentally friendly. Closely fought, like almost indistinguishably so with Fiberon.
With Fiberon, yeah.
And then a bit of a fall off to Timbertech, and then Decorators say nothing, mean nothing.
Yes, exactly. Timbertech was pretty good, but okay. Net waste created by manufacturing process. I know that's a weird thing to talk about, but
No, but it's good though.
yeah.
Like what do you,
So Trex claims to recycle nearly 100% of the factory scrap from the manufacturing process back into the manufacturing line.
okay.
So it also integrates scrap boards into new products, and they send all the hazardous waste that needs to be recycled to recycling facilities. They are looking for ways to channel waste from other parts of the business into the manufacturing process. Like leftover material from the manufacturing is being researched as packaging for new Trex products.
So there's just not a whole lot of bundled waste that finds its way out of the Trex plant, unless it's headed
No.
to some secondary recycling
That's right.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But their own boards that don't pass through some sort of quality assessment,
Yep.
quality control, get ground back up, put back into the hopper, and away it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Same with Fiberon. 98.5% of their waste from their manufacturing process. I feel like they could have said 100, nearly 100.
If they were rounding to the 10th.
Yeah, they could have been like nearly 100.
Yeah. And so
same thing.
Does it say why 1.5% of it's not?
No, they never
Or
said
where that
why.
goes?
No, they left that part out.
Interesting. Now, another good thing you put in, you have written down there, misfit boards to router clippings.
Yeah.
That's the range of waste that they have.
Yeah, they'll use anything.
Right. And so one thing that's different between how Trex makes their boards and how Fiberon makes their boards is how that groove is put in there. And this is, I've never once in my life thought about what that means for Green Story, but Trex's boards are extruded with the groove in it. So the shape of the mold has the groove
They push
in it.
or whatever they do.
Fiberon's boards all come out square plank and they cut the groove in afterwards, which I guess would generate waste.
Yeah.
The shavings that they have to clip, like that come out of the router bit that's cutting into the saw blade that's cutting into the side of the board, would generate like
A fair amount.
on one board, probably not much, but you're doing that 24/7, 365. That's probably a
Exactly.
ton of essentially like kind of sawdust
Yep.
that piles up somewhere. And so, yeah, a lot of that gets recycled is a good news story.
Put it back in.
Excellent.
Okay.
They're the only ones,
Yes.
I think, in this list that cut. Well, Decorators cuts theirs too, but they probably don't talk about it.
No, exactly. Yeah, they don't talk about it. Timbertech, 99% of internal scrap generated gets put back into the system.
99%.
99%.
That sounds like one of those lawyers things where it's like Don't say 100.
It said approximately.
Don't say 100.
They very specifically said approximately.
Somebody will walk out of the plant with some plastic stuck in their shoe, and
Yeah.
somebody will see that.
Decorators did not publish this information
Come on,
anywhere
man.
that was easily found.
Come on, man.
So, again, it's pretty much a tie.
That's a wash, I'd
It's a
say.
tie between all
100,
three.
99.5, 9,900. I mean, basically, they're all saying, like, we don't have waste.
Yeah, exactly.
We reuse all of our waste, or
Yeah.
damn near all of it.
So
that's really good.
Number 3 was the net water used during the manufacturing process.
Now, this, I believe that those, hold on number 2, I believe that those are probably all with regards to the wood plastic composite
Yes.
lines.
Yes.
Because I remember, and maybe this has changed, I don't know, but I remember being at, I can't remember if it was the Fiberon plant or the Timbertech plant, seeing piles of like PVC goop deck boards that failed quality tests for some reason, or they didn't foam up properly, the reaction didn't happen or something, and those boards ended up being, they were garbage. They couldn't, at that time, at least at that time, they weren't recycling with them, so they're garbage. So in the case of those boards, if they failed, they weren't 100% of the time going back into the hopper and being reused.
So that, yeah. So
maybe
that
that's
doesn't bode well.
Maybe that's why Fiberon and Timbertech aren't 100%.
Right, because it's like 1% of like shitty PVC boards.
Maybe that could be it. Maybe that's why. On a plant-wide basis, that's how they're not hitting 100 because of their PVC lines.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
Presumption I'm going to make anyway.
That's what we're going to say here. Correct us.
If you heard it here,
big brands. Yeah. So the amount of net water used during the manufacturing process.
This is good too. Yeah,
this is a good one. Here's something that I didn't think about until Trex said it, was that Trex, around all of their factories, tries to vigorously control the amount of storm water runoff. And I was like, why the hell would you want to do that? It's because the chemicals from the process of making it get trapped in the air and then get put in the water. And if they were to run off in the storm water, they would like get into the soil and stuff like that.
I see. So you might not see it, but the like the parts per million of plastic going into the water that they would be expelling out of their plant would be higher than what would be acceptable.
And so because of that, they have a closed loop recirculation system that runs the water through multiple cycles of reuse before being sent off to wastewater systems.
And then they do some sort of filtration or cleanup or something before it gets dumped out, presumably?
Presumably. They also track the amount of water used from the public supply.
Okay.
So they try and collect as much rainwater and stuff like that to keep the public supply down. And so their numbers, I actually have numbers here for this one. In 2019, they used 159 million gallons, 159.97 million gallons from the public supply. And in 2020, they went down to 178 million gallons.
You mean they went up?
Oh, yeah, they went up. Yeah. That's what I mean. They went up.
Interesting.
But not by a lot.
And so that's really good, too. That's not something you'd ever think about, but it's well, yeah, why wouldn't you take advantage of the fact that water comes from the sky? But it's cool that they actually make the effort to collect that and use it. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Fiberon has a similar process to Trex. Not as much detail on it, but they say they divert billions of gallons from ending up in wastewater, about 5,300 Olympic-sized swimming pools each year.
And they, by doing the same kind of closed loop circulation system?
Yeah.
And then they eventually do dump it into the plumbing system of some sort.
Yes, so that the municipality can deal with it.
I wonder why they have to eventually end up dumping it. Like, why can't it just circulate forever?
I wonder if it becomes too saturated with garbage, essentially.
But you'd think they'd be able to just like filter that out. I mean,
that's
I'm sure
a good
there'll
point.
be people from Trex and Fiberon and Timbertech listening to this.
They're going to be all over us now.
Like, I'm curious. Why couldn't you just use it for... There's obviously a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that they're doing it because they don't have a reason. I'm just curious what that reason is. I wonder... Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
The water goes bad.
The water goes bad. Timbertech, same thing. 97% of water is recycled. Closed loop water filtration system. It seems pretty standard across all of the companies, other than Decorators. Because
I mean, I think
they
that
didn't publish it.
Come on, man. So the way they make their decking is a little bit, but not with the wood plastic composite though.
Right.
They probably make that very similarly to the other guys. So anyway, I believe that the primary source of that they use the water for in all those plants is just for cooling. As the boards come out of the extruder, they have little water jets that cool the deck boards down. So
maybe that's why you can't reuse the water. Because if the water contains too many contaminants, it doesn't cool down the board properly.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Water that has more contaminants won't cool something off.
Like if your water has more
or
minerals,
holds heat longer.
Yeah, if your water has more minerals in it, it'll boil at a lower temperature.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Look at that.
So maybe.
So again, a wash in the net water used category. Other than
they all seem to have a similar, which makes sense. They're all extruding. They're 3 different brands, 3 different recipes. They're all making the same cookies, similar cookies in the same kinds of ovens.
They even call the wood flour.
Yeah.
It's wood flour.
Well, Timbertech does, right?
Yeah.
And then I think there's some others that won't use that term. Wood fiber, wood flour, wood whatever, yeah.
Okay. Here's the dirty one though. I like this one a lot. Does the company have any environmental fines?
Yeah, sure.
Trex?
Haney Construction, before we get to that, says, does Shane ever change his bath water or just try to filter it and save all the
why don't you
water,
filter
blah, blah.
your water, Shane?
I should.
You're just going to scoop it out?
Why don't we have a closed loop system in our homes?
Uh-oh. Did you just... Are we getting out of decking?
But really, though.
I think that's a good point, actually. Because it wouldn't take much. I mean, farms essentially have big fields that you put your wastewater into, and then it goes back into the ground, and you pull it out of the sump. And
yeah, what do they call that? There's a name for that.
There's a... God,
I don't remember.
Anyways.
But really, though.
You're right.
Like, I wouldn't... Like, send it through some sort of filtration, of course, but why couldn't the water that you drain, at least out of, like, I get why you wouldn't want to reuse your toilet water, but why not? I guess it all dumps in the same drain. But if plumbing was to advance from what it's been for centuries, why couldn't at least bath water go through some sort of filtration, then be used again for bath water?
Yeah, bath water, or even your toilet.
Yeah, your toilet supply lines, 100%.
Like, why can't they be filtered off?
I get that you'd want to have a separate line for your drinking water. You wouldn't want to, like...
You would have to have a separate line for your drinking water.
Catch some corn in your teeth or something.
But I agree. If you filtered it properly, why aren't we closed loop filtering that system and catching all the rainwater? Why aren't houses designed that way?
Elon?
Yeah, that's right. $6 billion.
Did we just solve the world's problems on this podcast?
We did. I think we did.
If you pee facing the wind, you'll save on shower water, right? Is that still a closed loop? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you don't open your mouth.
USMC says many people who live off-grid use bath and dishwater to flush toilets. I mean, we all get very creative when we start camping. We solve these problems when we're camping, right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, you wash your hands and you do the dishes in the same dishwater, and then you use that water to
yeah. If it's yellow, let it mellow.
Right?
If it's brown, flush it down.
Yeah, we get a lot more conservative when we're out and closer to nature. But,
okay, let's get to the fines.
You know where this all falls apart?
Okay, what?
Those people who say they stomp poop down the drain.
Yeah. You don't want to stamp. You don't want to.
You're not that person, are you?
No.
Why do those people exist?
Who
peeing in the shower?
Who takes a
Got
poop in the
I'll
shower?
pee in the shower, no problem. I have no problem peeing in the shower.
But you've never.
I've never
tried
pooed in the shower.
You've never had to fart and then a little comes out and then you push it down the drain with your big toe.
Good Lord. No, but I've heard people. It's just on the internet, so I don't know how real it is. But I've heard people justifying that. They're like, "Oh no, I would totally drop a deuce in the shower and just stomp it down the drain."
That's got to be so bad.
What's wrong with
plumbing.
you? Oh man. Okay.
Environmental fines. You ready?
Yeah, I'm
gonna call it all.
I am now.
I'm gonna call it out. I'm not nice to anybody here.
Oh.
Trex has 0 fines between 2018 and 2020, but has 3 environmental fines in total.
So nothing as of late.
Nothing as of late. But in their early years, 2008, 2010, and 2012, racked up over $77,000 worth of environmental fines.
Does it say what they were for?
No, it didn't. It just said that they had them.
Forgive my lack of excitement, but I feel like $77,000 worth of fines to a company that makes billions was probably pretty minor stuff.
Yeah. One of them was $66,000 alone, though.
I just feel like if that was a serious thing, if it was like a really bad thing, that it would have been like $1 million.
So is this their fault, though? Or is it like, is this a government issue? Like, shouldn't they be putting more money against these companies then?
Well, maybe, but without knowing what the actual issue was, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, you would have to think it would be water related.
Yes, I would assume.
Because what else would the government be regulating? They're not going to come in and be like, you said you reused 100% of your boards back in the hopper, and today you didn't.
Yeah. Unless they were
Everybody
talking
getting fined.
carbon emissions.
Could be carbon emissions. But anyways, I feel like, yeah, like shame on you, Trex. But it's also been, if that's up to date and accurate, then they haven't been dinged for 9 years.
No, and they talk about that a lot in there.
Like, who am I to judge? I get speeding tickets fairly often. And like, I wish I'd done 9 years since my last one.
Right, exactly.
But, so yeah, like violations bad.
Violations are
They
bad.
seem like they're small.
They are small, but I did find them. Fiberon has none, but Fortune Brands has 2.
Okay.
But they're for different companies, so I don't know if they count.
Yeah, probably not then.
Yeah, right. One of them's for cabinets, and the other one's is just for.
Oh, well, that's
Fortune
not it. Yeah, that's not against Fiberon. Fiberon only joined Fortune Brands probably like 4 years ago.
So they
3 or 4
definitely
years
don't
ago.
count then.
Yeah, they were bought by them about that time frame. So that stuff might even happen before Fiberon was even part of the mix potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Good for Fiberon. Good for not violating and paying money on fines and stuff.
Azek and Timbertech also don't have any, but they've changed names 3 times in the last few years.
Say what?
So, Azek,
Oh, you think that you're not finding
I can't
reports because the name
find
has
them.
changed?
Yes, because they used to be CPG International.
ProCell, CPG, Timbertech,
Yeah.
Azek. Yeah.
And then Decorators has 6. UFP has 6 in total.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hold on here. The guys who have talked nothing, no good news, they have bad news?
Yeah.
Okay.
They got bad news. They got 6 in total. And specifically, so when we were talking about like where they are is what I was thinking about. Like, where are these fines located? Because they own like mills and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
UFP. One of them was in Texas though. And isn't that where one of their plants is?
I don't recall where all their manufacturing happens,
It was a $74,000 fine though.
but we don't know what for
We
again.
don't know what for.
And it's against UFP?
It was against UFP.
So it could have been
because there's
anything
nothing
again.
against, like, Decorators doesn't exist in the system as a company.
Right. So it may have been for other things that they manufacture as well. Maybe not specifically the decking. But so 6 in what time period?
In a 7-year time period, it looks like.
From like 7 years ago to now?
Yeah.
So more recent as well.
More recent, yeah. I know, right? So,
Okay, hold on.
they're all
UMC
bad guys.
USMC has he's interjecting here with some, he says this is misleading. That's misleading. The Environmental Protection Agency tried to fine us for camping on endangered dirt in the California desert. True story.
oh,
What's misleading?
yeah, what is misleading about that?
Which, something we said?
Something, yeah.
Anyways, fine us for camping on endangered dirt. Interesting.
Huh.
Okay. I'm going to leave that last comment from Haney alone.
Okay.
If you're in the Instagram, you get to read that stuff.
The commitment to the company the commitment of the company to eco-friendliness is my last category.
Okay. How do you feel that we're doing so far? Anybody standing above?
No, actually, I feel like everyone's pretty even, other
Okay.
than Decorators, because they don't talk about it, which means they lose this last category too.
Okay.
So the easiest people to find stuff on were Trex and Timbertech. Fiberon had a page, but it wasn't as, I mean, I guess it was pretty good. They have Fiberon Balance. That's their
Yeah.
thing. So first I was going to talk about an environmental policy. All of the big companies have one, including Deckorators. They're pretty standard. Hey, we're going to protect the environment.
I was going to say
sustainable.
The policies are all just kind of
they're just like
fluffy,
legal
like
jargon.
Yay Earth kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yay Earth. But they all have one. Do they market their greenness? Trex definitely markets their greenness.
Yeah.
Super in-depth marketing. They even paid for Google ads to promote the articles showing their eco-friendliness.
Okay.
So when you type in like Trex eco-friendly, ads pop up at the top.
Right.
They've
always seemed to be like, I know the Fiberon balancing, the Fiberon messaging really started to come out like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But Trex, for as long as I can remember, has really been pushing that 95% recycled content. That environmental friendly message has been around for a long time from them.
Yep. They also have an environmental outreach program called Next Trex.
Okay.
That has over 32,000 collection locations across the U.S. and Canada, and a school program for collecting bags. And in return for collecting plastic bags, they donate benches and birdhouses back to them.
Interesting. So hold on, this collection program, they're collecting what? You're recycling or
Bags.
Or
Bags.
bags?
Yeah, like plastic bags.
Plastic bags. It has nothing to do with recapturing cutoffs from decking or old decking.
That is Azek.
Okay.
Azek has that as well. And
I don't mean to make you skip ahead.
No, that's okay. So yeah, so they really, Trex is like all on board. Super easy to find. They're definitely pushing that they are environmentally friendly. All the messaging is like, why use wood? We save trees kind of messaging, right?
Right. Yeah.
Timbertech, also very green forward in terms of the decking industry. The company as a whole seems to have ingrained the environmental approach into their company culture as well, though. So all of their corporate buildings follow like the LEED standards.
Right.
It meet or exceeds the LEED standards.
Okay.
Which is the environmental standards for building and making your buildings environmentally friendly.
Yes.
And they have a sustainability page as well called the Azek Full Circle PVC Recycling Message. And they take cutoffs as well. They have bins.
So we talked about this off the record a little bit a week or two ago about the collection thing. I've never seen one anywhere.
No.
But that doesn't mean they're not out there. Like maybe it's just not in Canada or maybe it's not in smaller markets.
I mean, we live in
sure.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a lot of people
Not a big
here.
collection facility here. So, but that's good because I think at one point somebody had asked that question on a previous podcast, whether there was somewhere to take cutoffs, and we said, not to our knowledge. And somebody from Timbertech, I don't remember who it was, reached out and was like, actually, we do that.
Yes.
We're like,
Timbertech
okay, so
does.
now here's a chance for us to clear the air on that. Apparently they do have collection centers for cutoffs and waste and whatnot. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Decorators, nothing. And yeah, Fiberon has the Fiberon balance page, which is basically just fancy marketing infographics.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah, it seems to me that as though Fiberon has always had, like they probably haven't changed anything as far as how green they are. They likely have always been green. They're just getting louder about it. And we were told to expect that when they became part of Fortune Brands, is that their marketing budget was going to increase substantially. And I think that's probably just a result of that.
Yeah.
Now they get to talk about their goodness too.
Yeah.
Because they have money to support it.
Exactly.
There it is.
My final question on it was, do they have the stats to back it up?
Okay. And what did you find?
Trex does, obviously. They have stats in their ESG reports on their website with reduction in environmental impact and commitment to improve every part of their business environmentally. And they have won multiple sustainability awards from third parties. Not sure if they paid for them or not, but
Right.
same with Fiberon. But they had an independent third-party assessment done and certified that Fiberon has a minimum of 94% pre-consumer recycled wood, fiber, and plastic content. So they had someone double check their work.
Right.
Which is
undoubtedly all of these guys that are using numbers have done something similar.
Exactly.
None of these companies would be going out there and claiming things without having them pretty securely like legalized on the back end.
Yeah. Timbertech and Azek, though, they had stats for the life cycle analysis of each board, PVC and wood composite versus traditional wood,
Okay.
and the greenhouse waste emissions based on both of them. And they found that their products were under the life cycle of a wood product in terms of carbon footprint and waste emissions.
Gotcha.
So that's what they published.
So even because you might not assume that, maybe you might assume potentially that manufacturing like an engineered product like that, as opposed to just cutting down and planing wood, would generate whether a larger carbon footprint or some sort of environmental impact greater than what wood would. And what you're saying is what their reports are saying is that nope, not true.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually have a smaller footprint than a lumber mill.
The lumber mill, all of their carbon footprint seems to come at the end of life of the product, though.
Right. And these guys probably don't have to count the fact that they take the cutoffs from the mill.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Which is already counted towards their carbon footprint, doesn't get double counted into theirs.
They already cut down the trees,
a little bit.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, I would say they're all even, though. Other than
between Timbertech, Fiberon, and Trex.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're all talking about it. They're all trying to get out there and in front of the green messaging.
But if somebody has like environmental sustainability or green or whatever you want to call it in their list of like their top threes of what they're looking for in a decking product, they're probably not choosing Deckorators based on that.
Based on that, no.
That whatever you just did there, that investigation you just did there. If they're doing their own homework.
I spent like a couple hours looking for material on the internet for Deckorators, and nobody had anything. There wasn't even people like spouting off information about it.
Interesting. Precision Construction says, looks like UFP and Deckorators need to get on their environmental impact and sustainability information.
Yes.
Maybe it exists, but not easy enough to find would be the moral of today's story. Or maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it doesn't exist.
Maybe it doesn't exist.
Maybe the story's just not that great.
I'm pretty good at looking through Google, so I'm pretty sure I could have found it.
If the story's not that great, you're not going to tell it, especially when compared to others. They may have decided.
That's true.
And this is like, I'm just spitballing here, but they maybe decided that their message didn't look very strong against the other message. Therefore, having no message was
the best.
Less of an impact than having a poor message.
Right.
So who knows? But they're certainly not going to be in the top selections if that's important to somebody.
Are there other environmentally responsible products that you could use if you didn't want to go composite?
Well, like I said, I feel like you can probably spin a green message out of most products, a lot of them, except for like hardwoods that are forested out of tropical rainforest. There's not much to be said for that. But that person, then you could also say it also lasts 80 years. Oh, okay. I guess maybe that's better than cutting softwoods down 9 times to get a deck that lasts as long as that. You can spin it that way maybe. But if you're looking at hardwoods, I think like the bamboo products present a pretty good alternative that gives you a hardwood experience and feel and touch and maintenance schedule and everything else, but it's made from grass that grows fast. Bamboo is harvestable within 6 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And so, as opposed to these other trees that are hacking out of rainforest that are harvestable after 120 years.
Right. They would take forever.
Yeah. So there's other products that are there. I feel like probably the most environmentally friendly messaging you hear anyway is coming from the composite guys.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one off the top of my head that's being louder about environment than them.
Is the environmentally sustainable topic on the top of your mind when you go to buy things?
Like anything or decking?
Anything, we'll say.
Only if it's for a product that has a reputation for not being environmentally friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would want to buy appliances that have whatever they call that rating. It's like energy efficiency.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't even know if I'm doing that because of the environment or because I just want a lower power bill, to be quite frank. right? And I haven't
Right.
shopped for appliances
Right.
for years, so I'm
They should just call it money savings.
just trying to think. But my next truck, like I'd be interested in going EV on my next truck, potentially.
Yep.
I also don't understand. I don't know what to believe out there because there's certainly lots of stuff out there. Maybe this is just the internet being stupid, but there's certainly lots of stuff going around too that claims that EV vehicles and the batteries that come out of them are not exactly environmentally friendly either.
Right.
So I don't know what to think about that. But certainly when it comes to a product there where it's like, is burning fossil fuels bad for the environment? Yes, it is. Therefore, if there's a better alternative, I'll consider it for sure.
Yeah, if there's a way to stop it.
But if I was shopping for like composite decking, no, I would not go. I would not do what you just did and be like, which one? Trex is 95 and these guys are only 80. Done deal.
Right.
Like that. I wouldn't weigh it that heavily for myself.
Mm-hmm.
No. You?
No, I don't think I would either, honestly. It didn't even really cross my mind until we started this episode.
Yeah. But I know it is for some.
They talk about it.
And obviously when you're comparing yourselves against wood products or competing against wood products, and wood, like deforestation and whatnot, is such a hot topic, of course you're going to want to be a little bit loud about the fact that you don't contribute to that.
Right, exactly.
In fact, you're using the off waste from, like, you're taking the waste from that process that's already happening and reusing it.
So
So
here's
like
the
you're
question,
helping
though.
the guys, you're helping the bad guys to minimize their waste even.
Right. So what happens to the composite decking industry when the bad guys stop
Right.
foresting?
I was thinking, I had that thought in the middle of you talking a little while ago and I was going to jump in, but it's like, yeah, the irony of this whole thing is that if they stop cutting trees down, Trex would have to start cutting trees down.
Right, exactly.
Or find a new filler. And
Where are they
maybe that's what Deckorators is waiting for.
Oh yeah.
They'd be like, when the day happens,
Yeah.
when the day happens, when all the sawdust is gone, we'll still be pumping out decking.
We're just gonna crush up some more chalk
Yeah.
and make some boards out of it.
Right? So maybe it's a long play, a slow play on their part. Anything else that you want to touch on from that? You don't feel that there was a winner in your research? You weren't like, oh, I really feel like Trex is ahead of the game here. It was kind of like a three-way tie and then Deckorators.
I would say Trex was the best at telling everybody.
Yeah. Sure.
And so from that, I would say they're probably the winner,
Okay.
in Bryce's humble opinion.
There you go. Well, that's all I got to say about that, Bryce. Thanks for doing all the research on that one. It was interesting. And for anybody who's looking for green options, there you go. There's a start.
Hey,
Take it easy.
thank you for
See you later.
listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships, or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.